And there's really nothing they pay you. I mean, right now you have everything that you need. You know, it's really true that right now you have everything you need. And a lot of times, you know, you make it feel like you don't. And so every time it's an accomplishment, it reminds you that work matters. But the accomplishment is not nearly as satisfying as the work itself. So for me, getting up every day, you know, and going to work, the hustle never stops. But the hustle itself makes you happy. That's a very important thing. You might lay in the bed in the crib, or your mother might let you stay in, and it gets really boring, and then after a while it piles up, and then you sort of get used to doing nothing. And all of you are here for one reason, you know, to be a good servant. Like you do things to make other people happy, and that result is that you get happy. You make other people a lot of money, then of course the result is you make a lot of money. So it's a process that you're born into. You've got to get up and give. You've got to get up and do your best because that's what makes you happy. And people got to go backwards here. They think that money makes you happy. But happy is what makes you money. You got to get up and, you know, bright-eyed, like go out there and you got to practice giving and practice like you really got to get up and put a smile on when it's tough out. And that kind of makes, you know, whatever you give is what you get. So I know that's obvious. Everybody, we hear it all the time, but then we watch things that people who tell you something different. But in your heart, all of you know that when you give, you get. So I try to say that to young people because they get too many people that twist it and they don't even realize. Like even a rapper gets up and all he does is think about how he's going to give that rhyme. They all want to show off. They want to give. They want to make everybody else happy. But they work. And I think everybody here in this room, you know, you hear so many conflicting stories. But the work itself, that's what makes you happy.
So we have a lot of young people from around the city also, and one of the things that I wanted to deal with is how it started for you, because that vision that you had in order to become this successful person, that's what I want to tap into so that they can see the roadmap that you took to get where you are.
Well, I'll say about giving, good giving is great giving. I mean, you give, you get. It's just a move, right? And you kind of, sometimes people will give you something that will remind you that that's true. That kind of reinforces the process. You don't really get nothing because they, you know, you breathe in the same air as a billionaire. You got whatever they got. You got cable, or your friends got cable, and that's all there is. There's nothing they can give you. So the process is like having a little faith that if you get up and you go to school, you won't wind up like all of your friends who don't go to school. Everybody here that don't go to school is likely to go to prison. Everybody here who don't go to school, I know your friends look kind of slick on the corner. I know I've seen them. I've seen, you know, my whole life. I saw the young ones look slick, but then the old ones, like my friends, most of them are in the corner, they're dead, or the other ones are in jail, but the ones who are in the corner, man, you know how they look twisted. On the corners, they look bad. So that's the reality, you know, and I just try to say, you know, you are who you hang with, and where they're going, and where the older guys like them are going. I just want to kind of reinforce that. Maybe I don't know if anybody told you that, but if you don't go to school, you're going to prison. You know, I know you don't want to go there.
Were you a good student at school?
I was a good enough student, I ain't going to prison. I was a pretty good student, you know. But you know, you take pride in like kind of still being kind of cool, but going to school. You gotta go to school. There's only a few years that you gotta go, and you learn a lot in school, but you also learn to go. Like you gotta get up and go to work. You gotta get up and go and do whatever your job is, whatever it is. So getting up and going to school is practice for the work. But if you don't go to practice, you can't get on the team. And I just, you know, I was a good enough student. I made the team. And then Sunday I woke up like, wow, I'm on the team. I gotta play hard. And that's really it, you know. I still want to be like, I didn't want to be like I saw what some of my older friends ended up. And then when I got older, I saw where my friends ended up. And I'm very lucky. And you can look at your friends and you can see exactly where they're going. And if you're hanging out with people, you know exactly who you hang out with, that's who you are. And where they're going is where you're going. So remember that.
You graduated from NYU. Tell us about, I'm sorry.
A city college.
Okay, what school did you graduate from?
CCNY.
CCNY. Tell us about your college days. How did you get the vision to start Deaf Kids? Like, where did it all come from?
I made college by the fact that I made college. I looked around, my friends didn't make college. That was inspiration. Every time you pass a class and your friends don't pass, like, wow. You take a step forward. You keep taking those steps forward until it's natural. Because that's your job, always take a step forward. And that becomes your reality. So, in college, you know, I found something, and all of you will find a dharma, a thing that is your inspiration. Because God gives you all so many, He gives you so many resources, you can do anything. But something will come up in front of you, and it doesn't have to be that you can't decide. Anything you pick that you're kind of good at, you can become great at. And once you start to make some strides in a certain area, and you stay, if you're a hustler who stays on his grind, you stay on that, it's impossible not to make it. A lot of you will be fearful, what if I go to school and I don't make it? If you work hard, it's impossible not to make it. It's impossible not to get out of school if you work hard. I mean, it may not be this year. If it's your job this year and you don't make it, if you stay on your grind, you won't get out of school. So it's really about faith and resilience. Dedication, faith, and resilience. So I found something I loved. Everybody said it was no good, but I loved it and I believed in it. It has to do with believing in yourself.
Are you referring to hip-hop music?
It was hip-hop music.
Everyone told you, you pioneered it, and no one understood it. And so, at that time, it must have been difficult.
Well, you know, I did it. I tell you this from experience, and maybe you don't get it until you do it. But when after I finished, like, I really worked hard, and I remember getting on the plane. I've never been nowhere in my life I got a plane, and I went to Amsterdam. And I had a hit record, Christmas record. Y'all might know they play it every year for I don't know how many years now. Christmas record. And I got in Amsterdam, they called me Mr. Simmons. Like, I didn't know what they were talking about, right? And they called me Mr. Simmons. It kind of was an affirmation that with my hard work, something could happen. That there was a record on the radio in Amsterdam. And it made me feel, kind of encouraged that hard work does matter. And everything I've done since then, nobody liked it. In the clothing business, there was no black people at all. There was none that owned the company. It's similar to that in the jewelry business now. Or when they said, let's do a reverend and 5A students on MTV, they didn't have nothing like that. And no one believed in it. So no one believed in any good thing I've done. Nobody wanted to see comedians. You probably missed, you're too young to know there was a Def Comedy Jam. No one wanted to do it. They hated the idea that 5 black comedians per week on HBO. It's a grind to get it done. But faith, you learn that when you do things and you have faith in yourself, that it cannot turn out wrong. You can't fail until you quit. It's impossible to be a failure until you're in the box, because you can't fail until you quit. And I learned that from my first experience with the first record. I'm saying this because it's what was told to you over and over and over again. And I can have the experience. Some things you know, like don't get in the oven, you'll burn, or don't do, there's a lot of things we know better than. A lot of things we know are true. We don't have to test them. As sure as I'm sitting here, if you work hard, you will be a success. And if you don't work hard, you won't be. That's true. It's not something I'm making up. I'm not just saying it for your convenience. I'm telling you that you have to go, as what we call hard. When I say hard work, that's the easy work. Staying home is the hard work. Not working. And it gets real hard as you get older, banging your head against the wall. Like looking on the corner and looking like it's cool and it's easy. It's boring. But then as you get older, it gets more than boring. It gets destructive and horrible. And that's the fate you have if you don't enjoy the work, if you don't go to work.
You're extremely successful